Hi there. Today's tutorial is about drone shot. So we will go through the whole process of how to track the footage, how to prepare the model inside Max and then put it inside Fusion, how to extract the camera movement and bring it back to the 3ds Max. So we will go through the every step. Please join me. Alright, so here's my footage. Let's go through, let's see how it looks. I found it on one of the stock websites with the stock footage. I can show you it's here. Yeah, I just took this one because it looks like regular drone shot for the compositing in archviz. And yeah, let's go through the process. So first, of course, we need to track the footage, and this is what I'm going to do right now. So camera tracker, preview auto track location, and let's reduce the threshold from 2 to, let's say, 1.9, and minimum feature separation can go to 0.0 0.01 bidirectional tracking and auto track. Yeah, it's important if you use Fusion for the tracking, the compositing, it's important to use sequence of the images and not the video for the tracking. So now let's solve our track. All right, so the solver wide height 2.3, almost 2.4. That's too much. Let's try to improve the quality of the tracking by deleting bad trackers. Those are with the red color. So I can apply track selection filter. So you see those are selected and delete. Now let's resolve. Okay, so you see now it's 0.3, and that's quite good result. We can improve it more by, again, removing the bad tracks. Not much selected now, so I can a little bit shrink down the error maximum and minimum threshold. So something like this. Delete. Yeah, mostly those bad tracks are on the water. I think that's because the feature that's been found first time in the first tracker result is changing every frame because of the waves on the water, and it's not stable. That's why mostly removed from the water. So let's resolve again. All right, now it's 0.28. I think we can stop on this and continue with our shot. So from now we can just go to export tab and hit export. Before that, we can choose what can be exported, what should be exported. Usually I am skipping the grid because I'm doing the ground plane because I never use it, to be honest. So the ground plane and export options, ground plane, point cloud, of course we need it, camera, yes, image plane, okay, and render, yes, we need it. Yeah, let's export that. And here's our camera and the point cloud. Let's see in the viewport. I'm checking this merge 3D node. Yeah, the viewport. So when you want to focus on something in the Fusion, so you click the node and then click F to focus. For instance, when I click on the merge 3D node and F focus, it gives me the whole scene, but it's quite small, the point cloud here, so I have to zoom a lot. But if I will click on the point cloud node and F, it will immediately focus on the point cloud. Okay, so we see this now, and obviously the camera is tilted, so I want it to be I want it to be horizontal. So let's go to the left view and adjust the rotation of the camera. So in the merge 3D node, we can do it right here. I'm going to the transform tab and rotation, and rotating by, I think, x-axis, yes. So what I want to reach is this green line. These are keyframes of the camera, and I need them approximately to be horizontal because camera moving horizontally in space. And yeah, something like this. Let's look at the result from the top view. Yeah, so we don't have to rotate anything here. And go into the camera view. These crosses are too big for me, so I can go to the point cloud and reduce the size, so to see better everything. Also, we can change the points. All right, so now what I need to have is the reference geometry. Why do I need that? Because I want this tracking result to be exact scale of my real project, what I'm going to put here on this platform. And for that, I need to prepare my geometry inside 3ds Max or any other software you use, and then export as an Alembic or FBX, but I prefer Alembic because it's not faulty like FBX sometimes. And prepare it there and merge it into the scene. So let's go to the 3ds Max. And here is my building that I'm going to put there. But besides building, I need something that already exists on the footage, just to compare and adjust the position and scale with. For that, in Max, I have my reference geometry in the background buildings, these, where I took this. Usually at work, we're getting that from the client, but you can find something if you need for free, absolutely, on this website. Discovered it recently, Topo Export. So this area is my area, what I'm working on right now. And yeah, you can just type the address here and it will jump into the location you need. You just scale the frame and hit export summary and preview. It will give you the 2D map and also 3D model. Super convenient stuff, and ready to export. So this is exactly what I did and got it here in 3ds Max now. And I positioned my building where I want. So I also created this surface with a screenshot from the Google Maps just to compare everything that it's matching. And it is actually, if you take a look here, every building on its place. Yeah, so having this, prepared, I can export from here into Fusion. What I can recommend is to merge every mesh, so to have less meshes as possible, because every instance of the mesh from here you will see in Fusion as a separate node. So you can imagine if your building consists of dozens of objects, you will see them like long list of the nodes. You can group, of course, that's not a big deal, but in my opinion, it's just to cleaner the work. So these buildings are separate object, and this building is many objects. So let me just create a copy of everything, and I'm isolating, selecting any object, and converting to mesh, attach list, and just select all, Control A, attach. Right. That's okay. And let me just rename that. That's a main building, reference geo. And these buildings I'm gonna clone as well and name them surrounding buildings, ref geo. And these two geometry can go to the separate layer just to stay organized. Okay, where's my main building? Is here. I can create a new layer. Ref geo. All right. So let's select them both and export. As I said previously, I like to export in Alembic. Okay, that's one single frame because I don't have anything animated, and that's all right. Export. Okay, it's done, and I'm going back to Fusion. And here in the file, import Alembic scene, I'm looking for my reference geometry. Yeah, here I can keep everything by default. All right. Yeah, you see how the tree is looking when you export from there. All right, as you can see, we have geometry. Let me preview it here. The transform node that gives the proper position, and 3D merge node that combines two meshes together. I think I imported the wrong geometry. Let me do it again. File, import, Alembic. Yeah, this is the geometry I need with my building. Okay. My next step would be combine my tracking result 3D scene, this one, with my geometry. For that, I will move this camera tracker, this camera tracker render node to the right and create a new 3D merge node. And plug my reference geometry into that Mesh node. Let's check in the viewport. Of course, every time when you import something here, it's super big, and we need to scale up a lot. And what I prefer to do is to scale up the tracking result and not the mesh I imported here from Max. That just came from the experience that every time I'm scaling down, because it's easier if I'm scaling down the geometry, these buildings, to match my tracking result, I have to export from here into Max. And when I do that, I need to scale it up there. And when you scale up the camera, because we're gonna export the camera, when you export that and scaling up, the keyframes of the camera becomes wrong. They become wrong because I don't know why, but it's just not working. It starts to be jagged, the movement of the camera, and it's just incorrect. So I discovered that if you do all the scaling operations, scaling and positioning operations inside Fusion and export from here, you just import in Max and it's done. It's ready to go. All right. Let's now find the proper scale and position. In the Merge 3D one, the one containing the point cloud and camera, I can scale up from it. So let me preview this merge and scale up this one. I need to scale up a lot, like maybe 2000 times. Let's scale up 5000. All right. So what I'm looking at right now, I need to find the pattern in these green points that is forming the buildings. So for instance, this, oops, sorry. Actually, let's look at it like this. So this group of nodes, group of points, are representing those cylindrical buildings. And we can check that by going to this merge 3D node and look through the camera. So this group of nodes are, this group of points representing these cylindrical buildings. And not only that we can just select them here and find it later in the scene, which is not easy because of the color. But what else we can do is in this view, we can select one of the points that is belonging to this building, let's say, and just create a reference geometry. Shape, create a shape, add selected points. Okay, we created the shapes. Accidentally, I selected few points. That's why it created me so many helper objects, but I just need one. This box and this cube, we can convert it into a cylinder, and we need to rotate it properly and find the proper scale. So let's reduce the size, and in the transform we can rotate that. Change the height, adjust a little bit the position because my point, which I took as a central point of this object, is on the facade of that building, but not inside. Whereas my origin of this cylinder is the center of the cylinder. So it means that I have to adjust it slightly to put it approximately in the middle of the building. that is behind. Increase the radius slightly. And I can create top and bottom. So this is my cylinder here. Let's see how it sticks to the footage. It looks to be all right. And what it gives me is, if I check through the perspective view, so this is my reference object that I created from the points. And these cylinders are coming from 3ds Max. So my goal now is to match their scale. When I do that, when it's done, it means that the whole scene is matching. The tracking scene matching to the real scale scene. So let's try to do that. But before that, we can change the color of that cylinder just to see it better. Let's say like this. And we also can create another building reference. Let's see through the camera. For instance, this building. I can again select any point. Let's say here at the base. And again, create a shape, cubic shape. You give me this new node here. Again, I'm rotating that box. If you want to see behind the box, you see the footage, you can go to material and change the opacity. This way, it's not really working here. I mean, I'm eyeballing too much, in my opinion. So I can delete that. And instead of creating a box, I can create a plane. Let's say I'm selecting several points of this facade. And here I have this button, image plane. So I'm selecting that. Let's see, yeah. So now what I want to do is to select this image plane and adjust its position, because now it's just one plane, 2D plane, that it's easier to adjust instead of three-dimensional box. So I need just to find the proper rotation. Move it slightly. And we have a surface which is sticking nicely to the facade. We can use this because we have this building in our reference geometry. So I'm just changing the color. Let's make the same color just to differentiate between two. And yeah, now I can just disable this point cloud because I don't need it anymore. Disable that. More or less. And let's see through this merge 3D node all together in the perspective view. So this plane is belonging to this building and this cylinder is this one. Let's try to adjust. So we adjusted with this merge 3D node the scale and the proper position of the camera to stay horizontal. Now I'm going to add 3D transform node. And with this 3D transform node, I will adjust the position of the scene. So here's my, here are my axes. I'm moving like this. It doesn't have to be super precise. Just do the best and it should work. Maybe scale down slightly. All right, let's preview the render node. Yeah, and we can switch off the one of the help objects from the one of the reference geometries, not main building but surrounding buildings. Our goal now to check here if the building is sticking, so to speak, to the surface, to the footage. If it's staying still, it means that we're done, we did the good job. Yeah, it's hard to tell because we don't see it shadows and highlights, so we can introduce some lights. Let's create light dome. They have diffuse shadows. That's weird that we don't see it. Okay. Oh, sorry, ambient light, not the dome. And let's create a direct light. This direct light represents the sun, so no matter where you put it in the scene, it will light evenly every time. Let's see the render. Yeah, and in the render node, we just have to enable lights and shadows, but shadows can skip. Light, yes. I think it's good. It's nice. It's not sliding. Good. So from now on, we can export from here the camera. I'm just going to create an export node, FBX exporter, and specify where I want to export my camera. Now, what to plug in this FBX exporter? We can plug the last merge 3D node. It means that everything plugged into it and 3D objects before everything will be exported as one scene. And that's fine by me. Very important to remember that when you export from here and import in Max, the names of the meshes will remain, and the Max, without asking you, will just replace original meshes with these ones. Just keep it in mind. So let's plug our Merge 3D into FBX export, and all the settings can stay by default. And just hit render. Now let's go into 3ds Max and the file import, pick the file, and here in the file content, be aware that you need to add an update animation. In the animation tab, Fusion default take. Yeah, so 25 frame rate, and that's all right. All right, now I would recommend to disable these two lights because it might crash the Max. Or in the FBX export, we can disable lights so they won't be exported, and we can keep them on here. So we need just camera, geometry, and that's it. file, sorry, render, not render, done. All right, so let's import the file. Okay. Yeah. Now my frame became 1001. That is correct in the Fusion file. But actually, I want this keyframes of the camera to start from 0. So I'm just opening the graph editor. Before that, I need to change in the time settings the start and end frame. So it's 0 and 237. And moving my frames to 0. All right. Now let's see the scene through the camera. So I'm selecting the camera and it always comes here as clipped manually. So we just disable that. And let's see. So yeah, it works. And this reference geometry exactly where it was in the Fusion file here. Not sure why it's not visible here. That oh, sorry. Yeah, this is geometry I need. So yeah, intercepting exactly like in here. And our main building is exactly in the same position and same scale. So we can remove these keying objects here, helper objects. That is this one, image plane. Those were not original. Yeah, and just keep only the camera. Yes, it's done. So now we need to check how it looks in the preview inside Max, because it's sometimes you think that it's already good and you start to work on the scene, submit to the render, and turned out that the camera is wrong. It's a bit something is wrong. Might be. So always check before working further. How I usually check, how I prefer to do that is to put the green screen behind instead of this gray background, put it green screen and just key out the preview MP4 file for quick check. Just let me show you how I do that. Use file. I have it prepared already for this exact tasks. And yeah, I think I can hide this building. I need that. And just keep only the main building. And create a preview. It can be an MP4 file. You can enable frame number. I'm using type preview, by the way. What else? I want to see my background, that's for sure. And I want to specify where I want to save that. So that's my output folder. It is done. And now I'm just checking here in the Fusion file, loader node. And my preview should be somewhere here. using delta keyer. Oops, it's the wrong one. Using delta keyer for the keying the green screen. Plug it to delta keyer, pick the color, the eyedropper, and the background removed. Now what's left is to comp this over the footage. Here's my footage. Control T to change the inputs. Previously it was like my background is the building, my foreground is the footage, but it should be vice versa. So Control T to change that order. And yeah, it seems like scale is wrong. So in Max, I think yeah, right. I need to set up the output size to be Full HD. So it's 1920 by 1080. Let's override that preview. Going back to Fusion, updating this preview. Yeah, now it's correct size. And hitting play. So what we see now, we will see when it's rendered fully in Max. Now it's loading into the cache. And after that, we will see it playing the real-time speed. I think it's fine, it works. Regarding the compositing, what we have to do is to create the mask, just to have these two buildings as a foreground. What I mean by that is just to this merge and creating a polygon mask. Creating it like that. And this will be the foreground. Okay. Yeah, it should be inverted. And of course, this mask must be animated because now it's static, it's not moving. I'm just doing it roughly to show what's the plan, what are the next steps. Basically, that's the whole process. Always there is something unexpected and unusual. I did it many times, and every time something is surprising you regarding the camera tracking and the importing cameras. So yeah, but this case was not difficult, and I hope it will be useful for you as a guide how to do that, and I will see you in the next one.